guest was born in Taiwan and immigrated to Canada as a teen. After learning how to cook from her mom and her grandmother, she turned her passion for food into a blog and soon became a TikTok sensation.
Yes, and now she's launching her very first cookbook. Please welcome the author of Tiffy Cooks 88 Easy Asian Recipes from My Family to Yours, Tiffy Chen!
Yay!
Oh,
Thank you so much for having me.
We're so excited to have you. I am so hungry, but before we get into eating your delicious food, we have to talk business because you went viral. 10 million people saw this video of you talking about the decision to leave your corporate job so you could become a blogger. And I want to know, how did you know it was the right time to make that leap? Because I think there are a lot of people watching who are thinking about doing the same thing, but there's a lot of fear involved, right?
Honestly, I was so scared. I've been a passionate home cook for 11 years, but prior to posting, I actually had a few failed blogs, a few failed YouTube channel. So before posting on September 3rd, 2020, I was so nervous, I almost didn't post at all.
Oh, no way.
When I woke up, the video had 200K views.
Wow.
It went viral. I was so surprised myself. And since then, I've been posting at least 3 times a week on my channel. I am so grateful, even though it took me 11 years to be here today, to have my first cookbook, to be here with you guys.
I love that. I love that. Just the transparency. It took 11 years. You had failures, but you kept going. It's a really inspiring story.
Absolutely.
But let's get to this delicious food, starting with the dish that was the first one that went viral, right? This is your cucumber salad. Take us through this.
My cucumber salad right here, we call this dish kind of like a kai wai cai in Mandarin, and it basically means a very appetizing opening dish, because once you eat it, you're gonna be super hungry and wanting more. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna smash the cucumber, so it's a little bit messy, but it's really fun.
Okay.
So just smash it with the side of the knife.
Frustration, Tiffy.
Yeah, anything that you're angry about.
Cucumber smash.
Once you smash it, you can kind of cut it up, and then the beautiful edges is really gonna help soak up all the delicious sauces.
Oh, that's how you do that.
Yes,
Okay.
so you can keep like smashing it as you're going, and you kind of keep cutting it up. If you use small cucumbers, it gets a little bit easier if it's your first time cooking. But once you cut it up, the secret tip is then to add it into a bowl.
Okay.
And then we're gonna actually coat it with some salt and some sugar.
Okay.
And this is really gonna help draw out all the moisture from the cucumber, allowing it to be super crunchy.
Okay.
Yes. So this is,
You talk about crunchy. Now, if we make this ahead of time, will the cucumber still stay crunchy?
Yes.
Because I don't like a limp cucumber.
Yes.
Sorry.
So once you massage it up, it'll draw out a lot of water. So if you were to make it in bulk, so I make it every Sunday for me and my husband.
Smart.
So we have like veggies throughout the week, good to go, easy to go. And then you just have to leave it for 40 minutes. It'll draw out so much water, and then it can last in the fridge for 4 to 5 days.
Oh, good.
Yes. Okay. And this is, you use garlic oil in the dressing for this, right?
Yes.
And it is a key ingredient in almost everything you make. Tell me about your passion for garlic oil.
I love garlic so much. In this jar right here, we actually have 88 cloves of garlic. So that's how much garlic is in here.
Wow.
Okay.
But the best part is once you do it ahead of time, you don't have to cut up garlic for a while. So it does save you a lot of time.
Oh my gosh.
The key to making it like extra flavorful is actually I'll rinse half of the garlic with cold water.
Oh, cool.
And then we'll slowly cook it in the oil. This will bring out all the fragrance in there without burning. And then right before it's ready, I'll add in the rest of the garlic, so you'll still get the nice texture from the garlic and the strong flavors from like the raw garlic. So it's a great combination of both different types of texture and flavor together. But I use it for sauteing, seasoning, dressing, anything you want, you can use it.
It like turns a vegetable, right? A whole vegetable into a thing of magic.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Can we discuss how delicious this salad is?
This salad is so good.
This is incredible, but we're moving on, because I'm sad, because I'm like, I have to put this down so I can focus, to a noodle dish. Talk to us about the traditional Taiwanese chow mein.
Yes, this is actually my grandma's secret recipe, so I'm really excited to be sharing it with everyone.
Yes. Makes me happy.
The best part about home cooking is that you can really customize it with whatever you have in the fridge. So I add in whatever vegetables I have in the fridge, whatever proteins on sale for the week, shrimp, chicken, pork belly, whatever you want, just add it in.
This is so good. Oh my gosh.
I'm so glad you love it.
Sorry, keep going.
And it's a one-pot meal, so then you don't actually do a lot of dishes, and then you save a lot of time, less than 30 minutes, you can put everything together, and it tastes great the next day also for lunch. So this is one of my husband's favorite like lunch boxes. I'll make this, and he has it ready to go.
If I had this for lunch every day, I think I would be the happiest person in the world. Like, not a huge plate, but just a little bit.
No work would get done.
It's so good.
I would eat lunch as soon as I get to work.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
This is
So good.
delicious. Oh my gosh, I'm truly excited to incorporate this into weeknight meals at my house. But one of the things you include here are crispy shallots.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever fried shallots. Maybe I'm a dum-dum. I put them in salad dressings. But tell me about your passion for shallots.
Yes, so I always fry shallots ahead of time, and this is actually another of my grandma's secret tip. When I go to her house, she always has fried shallots and shallot oil in the fridge. You put it on top as like a garnish. It adds great texture, nice crispy crunch. Or you can actually use the oil on top to drizzle on top to finish. Use it to fry eggs in the morning. Adds so much flavor. And then like, I don't like cleaning up the kitchen, so that way your house doesn't smell like garlic and shallots. You don't have to prep it every day, but you still have the flavor every day.
I love that. And I understand that you never throw away the vegetable oil that you cook the shallots in. Why is that? What do you use it for?
I use it to fry eggs. I put it on top of rice. I've actually added on top of like steak before to finish off, but it just adds so much flavor instantly. And then you don't waste any oil too, because I know a lot of people have a hard time throwing away oil after they fry things.
Right. Yeah. Everything you do is like, you prepare stuff ahead of time, which makes every meal easier and more delicious.
Yes.
You're blowing my mind. You know what's blowing my mind is just the thought of eating this pork bun. I am so excited. Kwame, we're saving you one, don't worry. Tell us about how these things of beauty came together.
Unlike a lot of buns are normally steamed, these are actually pan fried first, so it's crispy on the bottom, soft on top, and you also got like a lot of really juicy pork filling on the inside.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, that makes me so happy.
This is so good. Go, sorry, continue. We're listening.
Another of my mom's secret, grandma's secret tip is that to make sure that the fillings for your dumplings or wontons or baos to be perfect every time is before you start wrapping it, take a teaspoon, put it in the microwave to heat up for around a minute or two. You can taste it ahead of time. That way you don't have to wrap like 100 dumplings and then you end up being like, oh, I need it to be a little bit more salty. So you can taste as you go. It'll be perfect every time.
This is absolutely perfection.
The release of this cookbook, it's filled with so much joy. You must be so excited and so proud, but you've been open about it sort of being a bit of a struggle too, the promotion of it. Do you mind talking to us a little bit about that? I
had a little bit of burnout in both my personal and like my work life. This cookbook is really a family book from my family to everyone else, but my dad unfortunately is going through stage 4 cancer, so it was a little bit hard for me to kind of look at the book, look at the calligraphy, and think about all these family recipes without having a hard time. But I was able to take some time off, really reflect, and sometimes it's just taking it day by day, and just really, you know, when I'm sad, making something yummy to cheer myself up, and it always works.
Yeah.
Oh my God, thank you.
Listen, thank you for sharing that. I understand my dad went through the same thing. You're gonna be okay, but we're also glad that you're here and you're sharing that with us. And we're gonna end things with a very sweet treat. It's called mochi. Can you break that down and tell people what it's about if they've never heard of what mochi is? So mochi is actually an amazing gluten-free dessert, and it has a really nice chew, so it's made with sweet rice flour. It's a childhood recipe that I've been making, but this recipe, we tested out many different versions. This is really easy, made in less than 20 minutes in a microwave. So whenever I have friends over last minute and I don't have time to make desserts, then I'll actually make this mochi recipe and it's ready to go. And it's just such a wonderful mouthfeel too, like the texture is just incredible. I want to live inside of one. Yes. Yeah. Weird. You could add in like any other topping. So there's like black sesame, crushed peanuts, but then you also added, I'm actually added in matcha powder before or crushed Oreo and chocolate powder. And it was really good. Not traditional, but delicious. Wow, Tiffy, can I just say you're an absolute delight. Thank you for joining us today. Congratulations on all of your success. This has been available. Amazing.
Our next guest is a Toronto chef turned TikTok sensation. His impressive and intriguing chopping videos, they've gone viral, amassing him over 1.5 million followers.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if we'll be able to get on his level, but he's here today to give us a lesson in knife skills. Please welcome the incredibly talented six-pack chef, Wallace Wong. We're so happy to have you on the show.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, so Wallace, let's get into it. You've been on the food scene for a very long time. You are a Michelin chef. You also competed on many cooking shows. You won Chopped Canada, Fridge Wars, and you were a finalist on Top Chef Canada. But now you are a TikTok sensation. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, so really it's just because food is like my language. Food is my way to communicate, and social and what I do now is my way to communicate because I don't work in restaurants. So sort of that's how it got to be.
All right, cool.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Your videos are fascinating. You chop the really tiny things, like right there you're seeing popcorn. I think you do rice, you do chocolate chips. So like, how do you do that? How did you even know that you could do this?
It's really, I didn't really know that I could do it. I just did it kind of thing. And it's like, it's all about just a little, I say, good technique, a good knife, maybe a little bit of craziness, and sort of that's how we run. Did you know when you first put out your first videos that they were gonna catch on like this? Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not. I was just shooting my shot. So that just happened.
You gotta shoot your shot. I have to say the videos are actually both soothing and confusing.
Yes.
When I saw you chop up a Cheeto, my mind was blown. So can you show us how to do it and make it, look as easy as you do on TikTok?
Yeah, we can do this right now. No problem.
Well, not we. How about you?
Yeah, you do it and we'll watch.
I'll take care of that. So, all right, let's grab this Cheeto. This looks great.
Okay.
Shall I look at you, not look at you?
Oh, look at me. Right here, lock in, Wallace.
Oh my gosh, Wallace.
Oh my gosh.
You're not even looking. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. Why am I?
Okay.
Okay, we're not doing that.
I don't know what's going on.
I'll tell you
we're
that
not
right
doing
now,
that.
That's not gonna happen.
Do you cut yourself? Admit it. Have you cut yourself in the process? How many limbs have you lost?
The funniest thing about chefs is that we actually don't cut ourselves when we're cutting.
Okay.
Like the last time I cut myself was by me putting my knife away.
Okay.
So it's like one of those kind of really random
So you're
things.
klutzy in different ways.
Fine, yes.
Okay,
yes.
I'm klutzy with knives, so that's why I'm saying this. And there's no chance we're gonna be able to chop like you do, but you're gonna teach us some basic knife skills. I'm just gonna let you know we have not signed any waivers here, so let's be very careful. So
Gotcha.
show us how do we learn how to chop properly?
All right, so one of the first things I teach anybody is like, this is like real estate. It's like, Toronto real estate is expensive. You wanna make sure it's secure. So you guys have a tea towel over there?
Yep.
Actually, I always say, get a wet tea towel or a paper towel at home and put that on underneath your cutting board.
Okay.
Now your
Never
cutting
heard that
board is
before.
secure.
Oh,
So
it's
nothing's moving
sliding
away.
around.
Yeah,
Okay.
so when you're cutting, you only want really your hands and the knife to move.
Okay.
Not the ingredient, not the cutting board, not the table.
Gotcha.
Got it. So this is soaking wet. So
Yes.
that's what's giving us security.
Exactly.
Okay. I see you have 2 knives at your station.
Yes.
I only have one.
We only have one. That's
Yes.
okay. We're not,
Okay.
we're not in a
not a
competition.
competition.
Well, maybe it is.
Little.
How do you choose? My partner's always saying to me, you're using the wrong knife for the job. So how do you choose what's the right knife for the job?
Okay, so I always tell people you really only need 2 knives. So for me, I use a petty knife or a smaller knife for all like small tasks, small things like a Cheeto or peeling fruits and stuff. But I also then have something called a chef knife.
Yep.
So you guys both have a different type of chef knife that's a little more rounded. Mine's just a little longer, just preference. And the cheesy answer to the question is, the knife that works best is the one that you're most comfortable with.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so tell your husband, you know what? I'm using the right
100%.
knife
That's
because
right.
I feel comfortable
That's
with
right.
this knife.
feel
I
safe
will
with
back
this
you up
knife.
on that
Thank
one.
you.
All right,
Thank
good
you.
stuff. All right, so the fundamental cutting technique you're going to show us today is actually called the claw technique. So break this down. What does that mean?
Yeah, so the claw is literally, figuratively and speaking, it's the claw. So
Like this?
Yeah. So if I was to take, say, this cucumber, what you want to do is you want to claw over whatever you're cutting.
Okay.
And the reason is that these knuckles, they actually act as the guard for your blade.
So we're not going to cut our knuckles.
So exactly, you're not going to cut your knuckles, but you're also not going to cut your fingers.
Okay.
So then as you're cutting a cucumber, you can move your knuckles back as the guide and then cut.
Now, is the knife touching our knuckles when we do this?
No,
No,
but
okay.
depending on how you want to do it, you can, so that it also just stays there in a guide.
Okay.
Okay, but I heard there's also supposed to be like a rocking motion technique.
yes,
Is that,
for sure.
Oh, I got flying.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got them.
Flying
You got
cucumbers.
them.
Cucumbers everywhere.
Cucumbers are going.
Okay, but is that true? Should I be doing the rocking motion?
You can do a rocking motion or a slicing motion. So
Okay.
based on a knife, right? So what you
That
mentioned,
is so much better. Look at
a
that.
rock, and then
Okay.
this is a
What do you do when
slice.
you get to the very end, like just this little piece? You just let that be because I feel
You
like
let
that's
it be,
what
or you
always a
actually turn
digit.
it the other way. Exactly. You did it perfectly. We actually flip it so that it's secure again.
Okay.
And then you can cut it however you want
And
to.
then, okay,
Yeah,
so
look at
trying
you.
to get it.
She's going faster
I
and
know.
faster.
I feel the competition
kidding.
starting.
I was just gonna
Didn't
say.
she just say this is not a
I'm just
competition, but I
gonna
hear
say
someone
that.
chopping really quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's talk. Let's go back to talking about mistakes.
Okay.
Because remember recently there was a viral video of Kendall Jenner holding a cucumber, and people went crazy for it because she just looked so bloody awkward.
Okay.
What are the most common mistakes that you see when it comes to people handling knives?
Yeah, so actually the biggest thing that I see people doing is how they're using a knife. So you talked about rocking and slicing.
Yep.
So I'll use the carrot as an example. Most people, when they cut, they go one direction. And I'm not talking about the boy band. So I'm talking about the direction of the knife, right? So people just go like that. It's very hard to cut, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You have to put some force and things going on.
To rock it.
Rock and back. So what you actually want to do is you want to go 2 directions. So you want to go down and then forward. Even
Down
if I'm
and
holding
forward.
a carrot, I'm still using the
still
claw.
clawing.
Still clawing.
I'm
and
a
then
lefty clawer.
Very
okay?
easy.
Okay,
So you can
I'm
do
so-
this with any
Or righty
larger
claw.
ingredients.
I think
Exactly.
Down, and then what am I doing here?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's just show you going 2 directions.
When the surface is not that big, how do I claw? 'Cause
yeah,
I'm
so what you can do is take that body
Yeah.
and you flip it the other way.
Ah.
So now you've got a little more grip.
Okay, gotcha.
And then you go straight down again.
Don't want. I almost let. Okay. There we- Here we
you
go.
got it.
Okay, I got it. Look at that.
And that's that.
All right, so now we know you use the knife that you're comfortable with. What about sharpening the knives? Because I'll be honest with you, I have gifted a knife like 15 years ago, and I never sharpened it once. Is that a bad thing?
It is. It is. So when you want to sharpen a knife, there's actually several ways. So most people, they don't have this, but this is called a whetstone.
Okay.
So this is what I use to sharpen my knife alongside these two things. So now a whetstone actually sharpens your knife, but this is called a holding steel, and what it does is actually straightens your blade, which makes it feel like it's sharper. So a lot of people have this at home.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Not this one, they have this one, but if you don't have either of these, what you actually have is a mug. So a mug is made out of ceramic, which is stone.
Yeah.
So if you flip that backwards, now you got yourself a sharpener. So if you were to take your knife, what you want to do is you want to put it flat onto the thing, put about 10 degrees, and then you're going to pull back from the end all the way to the front. And then you go to the other side, and then same thing. So the only rule of thumb is you do it one side, you do it equally to the other side.
And how many times should we do this?
As many as you like, but usually, a good 10 on each side is more than enough.
And how do you know your knife is sharpened enough?
You go cut something else again.
Okay.
And then it'll be the most easiest way.
That seems pretty basic.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So this is a very simple, affordable
So you don't
way.
have to get all these fancy tools. You can just use a ceramic mug.
A social ceramic mug, in fact.
Yes, specifically that one.
All right, so now that we've got our knife skills down, we're going to end this lesson with sautéing.
Okay.
Now I'm getting nervous because the knife skills, we managed not to cut ourselves, but now we have to do the perfect flip.
Got you. Okay, so you guys got your pans underneath.
Okay, we got
All right, and then you've got a little bag here. So most people, what they do when they saute is go up and down.
Yeah.
You actually want to do a C motion.
C motion.
So when you use a bag of rice or a bag of beans at home, you simply flip and you can see it flip. So use that
C
as,
motion.
Yep, so move forward.
Okay, I did it.
There you go.
Fine.
And
Did
then,
you see?
there you go.
I did a double flip.
And then you can go faster and faster and faster.
Okay, so what happens, because I have different sizes of frying pans, and the big ones are really heavy. Can I still flip with
You
that one?
absolutely, all you just
How
need
do you-
is either two hands or gotta go to the gym.
Okay,
so one of the
it's a
two.
two-hander
Getting
if it's a big one.
overconfident. Do you know that one time I was flipping a pizza, I feel like on this show, and it went flying? So now I got
Look
mad
at us.
skills.
Well, see, once you've got this, you can use this with a bag of beans or rice, and you can flip it as many times as you want. And this is a really easy way to learn how to saute. You guys haven't dropped it at all.
I know. You know what? I feel like because we're doing it with a bag of rice and you're here,
We're confident.
But at home,
I
when
know,
there's
the
all kinds of
omelet.
oil and all kinds of vegetables in here, everything's
have
going to
to
be all over
practice.
the place. But
Oh.
Very
Did you
nicely
see that?
done.
That
Look
was
at
very
you.
good.
Cool as a cucumber. Look at that. Wallace, thank you.
I'm just
problem.
saying.
much for teaching us some knife skills. I feel like I'm more of a pro, and I'm gonna also gloat tonight when I get home for dinner.
Absolutely.
Thank
and
you.
the husband thing,
Yeah,
I got your
exactly.
support.
Thank you.
So listen, when we talk about healthy cooking, we sometimes think about things we should restrict from our plates rather than what we should add more of. Our next guest is about to change that.
In her debut cookbook, Big Bites, she offers an abundance of comforting and nourishing recipes. Joining us today is chef and social media sensation Kat Ashmore.
So, Kat, we have to get into this because I understand you at 12 years old were reading cookbooks before you went to bed, and now you're here with your debut cookbook. So, talk to us. How did this obsession with cookbooks even start?
Well, I like to eat, which I think is wonderful. But really, I just always felt like cookbooks were such a comforting story to read. Like, they always have a happy ending, first of all. And they are just cozy, and I just love to escape into those types of stories. And Martha Stewart was one of the first cookbooks that I read as in 8th grade, and I would bring them on vacation with me, and my brother would be like, and I thought it was normal. I didn't know it wasn't normal. And my brother was like, we don't have a kitchen, we're in a hotel. Why are you bringing 5 cookbooks? And I was like, mind your own business. But now here we are.
Look at you now.
The
Look at
obsession
you
is
now.
real. I mean, we've come full circle, so.
Okay,
yeah.
we're gonna dive into
Yeah,
some of
let's
your
do it.
popular foods, and we're gonna start with a great salad called the Fall Farm Stand Salad. So what goes into it?
So listen, we call it the Fall Farm Stand Salad. It is great year-round, but we are talking about wintry greens. So we've got kale and shaved Brussels sprouts. These are nice hearty greens that are gonna stand up well in the fridge. So even dressed, the salad will last a good 5 days.
Oh
which
my
is
gosh.
speaking my language,
Me
right?
too.
And all of my Hungry Lady salads, the whole chapter is big meal in a bowl salads with tons of flavor and texture.
so good.
This is not a sad salad.
Oh, it's not.
Yep, it's got butternut squash and apple and goat cheese, and then the dressing is a fig vinaigrette. So you use a little bit of fig preserves as the base of the vinaigrette, so you get that.
It's
sweetness.
amazing.
good. So, Kat, you mentioned that one of the big reasons you blew up was the Hungry Lady salads.
Yes.
Like, what does that even mean, and why do you think they resonated so much?
Well, it's funny because I just sort of casually called the salad the Hungry Lady salad, and then the internet went insane, and I was like, this is my personality now.
Yeah.
Apparently. So here we are. I think that people loved it because it was January, and I was looking around. Everyone is like, New Year, new you. I want to fit in my clothes. I want to feel better. But I'm like, okay, there are places to go if you want to be keto, places to go if you want to be paleo, places to go if you want to be vegan. But what if you just like want to eat better?
Yes.
Like, what if you just want to feed your families better? You want more veggies, more nourishing stuff. Yeah, maybe fit in your clothes better, but you don't want to diet. Like, where did those people go?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is where
Amazing.
I come in.
Love it. We are here for it. Yes. So your next dish is called Mostly Spinach Dip. Tell us about it.
So I feel like spinach dip is one of those things where if you don't know what to make when people are coming over, you're like, I'll just make spinach dip. Everybody loves it. The issue with spinach dip is that one of my pet peeves is when I am hosting and people fill up on appetizers, then they're not hungry for what? For the meal that you spent all of this time on, right? And like Martha would always say, like just little bites. You don't want people to be full. So this is a spinach dip that is not gonna weigh you down. It is, as the name implies, mostly spinach. So we've got lots of spinach in there, just enough of the creamy, cheesy, caramelized stuff that we all love.
Delicious.
Okay. So, Pat, what do we serve that dip with, though?
I love to serve it with anything from toasted pita or crudité to tortilla chips, toasted baguette. Even like I've put leftovers into a baked potato, and it's really good.
Ooh, that's
I don't know, because why not, right? Why not?
I love in your book that you say that no food is clean or dirty. I think that's really important. Can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's not always a popular thing to say because people are like, you can't be eating this. One day, kale is magic. The next day it's poison. It's like, who can possibly keep up, right? I don't believe that there are good and bad foods. It's not the language I use with my family. And I just don't think that it's, do you like the food?
Oh my God.
I'm so glad.
You're talking and I'm like, this is coming.
I am so glad.
You already got the meatballs.
That is the response I want.
Sorry, I'm listening, Kat.
That is the response I want. Believe me, I would have it no other way. But I just know for myself, I've gone through times where I'm like, I'm gonna eat no sugar because sugar is bad for me. Guess what I think about 24/7? Sugar.
Yep.
What you resist persists for me, right? So if I'm like good, bad, this, I'm just gonna obsess over it. So like, let's just chill out, okay, first of all. And just like, you can have your chips, but I'll have my chips with like cottage cheese and salad and stuff. So it's just part of the meal. It's no big deal. It's no big deal.
All right.
Yeah.
Now move on. And I want to talk about something that I'm currently chewing because it is delicious. Two words I never heard together, but they're delicious. Chimichurri and meatballs.
Meatballs.
So good.
This is the most popular recipe from the weeknight dinner chapter. And for good reason. My kids love these meatballs. Everyone loves meatballs, right? There's just something about putting meat into a ball or a stick that just makes it more fun.
So true.
But these have
You see what I was eating now?
really, I know, aren't they good? And you can make them really small with toothpicks as like an appetizer. You can freeze them ahead, but they have just a quick, fresh chimichurri sauce, which is like a fresh herb sauce, garlicky, acidic, all the things. And you fold half of that into the meatball batter.
That is really, really good.
So that you're flavoring it from the inside out, and my kids go crazy for these.
We're gonna jump straight to dessert. It is something that you call the chocolate Earl Grey. Wait, dark chocolate Earl Grey mousse.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
And I need you to try it before we go into what's actually in it.
Okay, say last.
Oh, it's like gorgeous, like
nice.
pudding,
Nice texture.
fluffy.
Nice, right?
Yeah, I don't taste the Earl Grey. Do you? No.
It's just,
A hint,
that's
a hint.
the idea, is that the Earl Grey should not be coming through like a
Doesn't.
Nope, not at
strong, it's just
It's
a
a
little
hint.
bit of a floral note in the
You
background.
taste it? I don't even taste it.
I don't taste it at all.
I can taste
But
it.
I'm glad, but what it does is it keeps it from feeling bitter, okay? Because we don't have a ton of sweetener in there.
love
But
it.
do you know what the base is? It's tofu.
No. Wait a
What did
second.
you just say?
I gotta give this a another taste. This is tofu?
It's silken tofu.
Never would have known.
That's why I didn't tell you first.
Yes,
Never.
I know what I'm
making
doing.
everything tonight.
And it's the easiest mousse you will ever make. You just put it in a blender. Easy.
First of all, thank you for taking those cookbooks on that vacation. I don't care what you guys said. This is fantastic and so delicious. Thank you so much for stopping by.
So Jacek and I have this fantasy. It's clean, I promise you. But the fantasy is that we want to live in Scotland for a year. And seeing that our next guest's TikTok reminds me why, sharing rustic recipes and stunning shots of his life in the Hebrides, it's no wonder he's Scotland's best-selling cookbook author.
Oh, wow. And get this. He's here today with his latest cookbook, The Hebridean Baker, My Scottish Island Kitchen. Please join me in welcoming Cynthia MacLeod to the show.
Thank you so much.
So first of all, just a quick question. Did I say your name properly, and what does it mean? And can you answer standing up over there? So I can see your
Okay. Because, well, Jess, you did. It's like you lived in the Outer Hebrides your whole life. And don't laugh, because Cynthia is actually the Gaelic word for handsome. And I was a very cute 2-day-old baby. It's gone downhill since then.
I love that. Okay, so you're known as the Hebridean Baker, and I have to be honest, I've never heard of the Hebrides before. I'm a bit ashamed of that, but maybe there are other people like that. So tell us a little bit about them.
I'm from the Isle of Lewis, which is the farthest north of the Outer Hebrides, which, to put into context, I'm closer to the south coast of Iceland than the south coast of England. So we're far north. And actually, if I'm on the west coast, probably Canada's the next thing I can see.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Well, your life looks incredible, like visually, and all your social media accounts. You live, it feels like, off the grid. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so actually, yeah, we do live off grid. We live in a wee hut. We call it like a cabin in Canada, which has to be smaller than 30 square meters, so it's wee. No running water, no electricity, but it's beautiful. We can only get there by canoe.
Oh my God.
Wait, you have a Wi-Fi signal?
Do you know what? The Wi-Fi's good.
Because you're on TikTok.
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi's pretty good, surprisingly. It overlooks to the Isle of Mull, so we can see the Isle of Mull. So I think that's where we get our signal from.
That's amazing. Okay. Well, we need to get to the lovely spread that you prepared for us. So we're going to start with a cockaliki pie, which I love this name. Cockaliki pie. It looks amazing. Is it easy to make?
So many followers might know that cockaliki soup is a classic Scottish soup with chicken and leeks and prunes. But the prunes, when you put it into the pie dish, they just melt away and make this really sweet sauce.
Yeah. Cockaliki doodle doo.
But it is really special.
Lovely. So good.
So it's chicken and, like, what other flavors are in
Chicken
here?
and leek and prunes.
Oh my God.
I know, old school.
The prunes
I love
are
that
so
you use
mellow.
dark meat.
They just melt away and it is delicious. But yeah, use chicken thighs always. Just for that extra.
That's right.
We love that.
Because it's dark meat.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have heard about the Danish word hygge in recent years, and your dishes say a lot about the Hebridean hygge version. So tell us about that.
Well, I was doing Danish radio recently, and they asked, was there a Gaelic translation for hygge? And there sort of is. There's this beautiful word called blas, which means kind of warmth and contentment, which is all about just getting cozy by the fire, having some lovely Hebridean treats, and just cuddling up.
I love that.
Now, I have to say, I'm seeing a bundt cake here, and I love making bundt cakes so much because it's that last step.
Oh, I know,
of
the
turning
reveal.
It so satisfying.
I know.
Mine don't always turn out like this. But you have added something extra. You've incorporated a hot toddy into it. Tell us about this creation.
Now, is it still hot toddy season in Canada? Still pretty chilly out there.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Yes. So this is the flavors of a hot toddy. So it's a lemon and honey cake with a whiskey icing on top.
Wow.
So it's a bit of a beauty there, to say the least.
It's not too sweet, too. The lemon is just a beautiful hint.
So that's a real treat, to say the least. Yeah, so all these recipes are in the new cookbook, which I've just found out is on the Canadian bestseller list this month. So.
Now, we have to talk about the star of your TikTok. your furry little friend. He's on the cover of your cookbooks and travels everywhere with you. Why is he here today? Okay, so who gets more recognized, you or him?
Well, when
oh
you said,
my God, look at him! I can't.
When you said furry little friend, I did think you meant my partner Peter first, but no, it's Shortus, my wee dog. He's a West Highland terrier, a wee Westie, and yes, he is the star of the show.
He is.
I keep getting asked, shouldn't Shortus have his own social media? I'm like, no, because nobody would follow mine if Shortus had his own social media. But he is the most recognizable dog in Scotland. People love him.
my
They
God,
absolutely
so beautiful.
love
He
him.
deserves it. Well, let's toast to that because I see a cocktail in front of me, and this looks stunning. And you've incorporated lemon curd into
Yes, this is my lemon curd cocktail. So easy to mix. I call them my store cupboard cocktails. So it's lemon juice, gin, a good Hebridean gin. And yes, I know sugar syrup and lemon curd. But do you know what we say in Scotland to say cheers?
Oh.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Sláinte, everybody.
Sláinte.
Wow.
This is one of the
heavenly.
greatest cocktails I've ever had in my entire life. It's like a lemon meringue pie mixed with what's the alcohol in this?
Gin.
I mean, I just
This
can't.
is going to be your summer, no, not only your summer cocktail, your spring cocktail,
good.
your summer cocktail, your autumn cocktail. It's an absolute winner.
So I understand that the folklore really ties into your cookbook. So can you share a little flavor of that?
Well, there's a lot of monsters in the Hebrides. Loch Ness gets the most famous monster, as you know, but there's plenty in the Hebrides as well. And they're everywhere. There's giants in the mountains. But be careful. We have this thing called an echushka, and it's a shapeshifter. And so when you're visiting the Hebrides, I know you're moving there, Lainey. So when you're visiting, if you see a wee wholesome-looking granny just walking along the shoreline, and if she entices you home for some scones and a cup of coffee,
follow the granny?
Don't follow the granny, because we're just not always what we seem in the Hebrides.
What's she called again?
She's got an echushka. It's a water horse, so she will bring you along the loch shore and then entice you into the water. And I won't tell you what happens to you when you go into the water. It's not very nice, but just be careful. We're not all wholesome and nice in the Hebrides.
Why don't we return to less creepy stories, because we're ending with your Empire biscuits. They're traditionally part of Scottish tea time.
Yes.
So tell us about them and what you've done here.
There's absolute classic Scottish tea time treats. Shortbread, of course, classic Scottish shortbread. But the big challenge is you're either a jelly tot or you're a glacé cherry on top. So it's in with raspberry jam, a little bit of icing on top. But for me, it's always about the jelly tots. It has to be the jelly tots.
Jelly tots. Oh, I love a jelly tot. They're so good. It's my candy from when I was growing up.
Turning off, we can't thank you enough for coming all this way to come visit us. And for bringing I'll just stand over here for the extra, for bringing all of this incredible food. Viewers at home, use your phone to scan the QR code on your screen and get the recipes in the palm of your hand.
Elle magazine called our next guest very Scottish, very sexy, very outlander. And it's easy to see why. He is Scotland's best-selling cookbook author, known for sharing rustic recipes and stunning shots of his life in the Hebrides.
Yes, and he's here today with his latest, The Hebridean Baker at Home, Flavors and Folklore from the Scottish Islands. Please join me in welcoming Cynthia McLeod.
You got it.
I was practicing a million. I'm like, where's McLeod? Okay, good. First of all, congratulations on the book.
Thank you so much.
Listen, I understand that you created this book because you wanted people to try the recipes, but you also wanted to introduce them to the Hebrides. And for a new person like me, by the way, I'm new here. Andrea, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, Andrea.
Talk to us about the Hebrides.
Yeah, so the Hebrides are a set of islands off the northwest coast of Scotland. You've got from Mull to Iona, from Skye to Barra. I'm from the furthest north, which is the Isle of Lewis, and we have stunning beaches. We've got mountains, we've got castles, we've got a 5,000-year-old stone circle, and, of course, men in kilts.
Yeah.
You know. Maybe I should have started with that. We've got men in kilts, we've got castles, we've got...
All of it.
You buried the lead there, but okay.
You are all about comfort food. So let's get to this beautiful, cozy spread. And we're starting with a dish that has a special tie to the social. Tell us about it.
Well, I was here last year with you, Cynthia. We had a great time, and unbelievably, I got inspiration for my new cookbook while on the social. There's a wonderful lady. She's a food stylist and chef, Sandra Watson.
She's here today. There she is. Hi, Sandra.
And after the show, she came to me and said, "I've got a recipe I think you would like." She told me about it, and did I ever love it? And it's my whiskey fondue.
Okay.
And give it a try.
Okay.
So the whiskey fondue, the whiskey just brings this texture and warmth of flavor from the caramels.
I lost
Have you lost
piece.
it?
I already lost a piece in there.
Isn't it so good?
It's so, you know what? If I could stop losing pieces in the fondue, maybe it'd be really good. Okay, let me try for something
take
else.
your fork.
Can I be very honest with you? This is my first time having fondue. I feel like I've seen it in TV and movies, but I've never actually had it. So first of all, thank you so much for introducing me to it. But I also understand that fondue is typically made with white wine, cognac, brandy, but you use whiskey. Why whiskey?
Yeah, well, the kind of earthiness of the flavors, the kind of like the smokiness of the whiskey really, really works. I use a Jura whiskey, and isn't it good?
That is really good.
It is so good. And just that sweetness.
I'm done with this stick. I'm gonna
go.
She's just going in. Good for you.
I'm done.
Just go in.
It's good.
You gotta do what you gotta do. I love it.
Gotta do.
You gotta do it. Make it your own. What types of cheeses work best for fondue?
Yeah, so you've got to find cheeses that work, that melt really smoothly. So the classics, Emmental, Gruyere, Comté work really well. But head to your local cheesemonger or your local dairy. If you tell them you're making a fondue, they will get very excited and tell you all about the cheeses they have. So always try your local deli. They'll tell you what to have.
This is really good. I'm going in again. Okay. Now, before we move on, I want to talk. There's something on TikTok. There's always something on TikTok.
There is always something on TikTok.
But there's something that's trending. It's a Scottish term. What is it? It's Herkel-Durkel. What is Herkel-Durkel, my friend? What are you talking about?
So to Herkel, see if you're on the sofa watching TV at night and you put your knees up and you're getting all cozy. That's what a Herkel is.
Okay.
And there was a poem in the 1850s where a poet wrote about Herkel-Durkel. And that is basically to stay in bed for an extra couple of hours at the weekend, you know?
Yes.
Are you into that?
Herkel-Durkel.
And I found the poem. Can I read you the poem?
Oh, yes.
So this is in Scots, okay? So here we go. So it's lang after people greet o' day in Herkel-Durkel happy lay. Gan to your work, ye dernan Merkel. I lie there in Herkel-Durkel. Did you get that, Cynthia? Did you get it?
I love it. Okay, we're gonna keep going because we've got a lot of food to get to. So you have some meatballs for us. What makes this particular dish special to Scotland?
So this is my Charlie Barley's meatballs. Aren't they good? So they are a classic recipe, but if you ever come to the Hebrides, I remember being on this Danish radio show, and they said to me,
I'm still using this. I'm still using this. Yes, go on. Yep.
They asked me, what's the first thing you must do when you come to the Hebrides? And I think they thought I was going to say, climb the Clisha Mountain or go wild swimming off Luscantar Beach. And I said, go to Charles MacLeod Butcher's and get some Stornoway black pudding, because it is the bucket list thing to do on that island. And but it really is. Good. Blood sausage is so important to our culture, and I know folk will love the blood sausage. So I've kind of taken you to Italy via the Hebrides.
Love it.
We love that. You know what? That's also something that we eat a lot in the Caribbean culture.
You do.
All the audience is like, yeah, we have that too. We eat that too.
Yeah.
By the way, I want a Herkel-Durkel with everything I've eaten so far. But let's move on. Since you're the Hebridean baker, we have to try some of your desserts. And you brought for us a cherry Bakewell steamed pudding. Oh, it sounds delicious.
I know. So, I was out in Toronto today. It's chilly out there.
Really is.
We still need some cozy bakes. So this is a classic steamed pudding with the flavors. It's like this kind of almondy frangipane. Yeah, frangipane with a nice kind of cherry jam in it. But it's all about the cozy, and those classic flavors as well. What do you think? Now, you do. Yeah, is it a good one?
It's so good. I'm dripping it all over the place. Oh my God. It's sexy.
I'm listening.
But
listen, along with the Herkel-Durkel,
yes.
I feel like the other expression that we know better is hygge.
Oh, hygge.
Hygge.
Yeah.
That's a Danish term for cozy. So you brought with us A hygge cake?
Yeah,
is that right?
the Hebridean hygge
Hebridean
cake.
hygge cake.
So,
Okay.
so this is a classic Danish recipe, drumkage, which Jutta Andersson, she won in the 60s this big baking competition with her hygge cake. So it's a vanilla cake. Just before it's finished, you take it out of the oven, then you put this coconut caramel topping back into the oven.
So good.
And then when it comes out of the oven for the second time, it's all chewy and crispy on the top and the soft.
It's gorgeous.
This is incredible. Okay, so let's get to our last one because we're almost out of time. You brought for us a very cozy beverage. Talk to us about this one.
Yeah.
Is there any alcohol in this?
Of course. My book, people buy my cookbooks for lots of different reasons. The recipes, the pictures, the stories. But if you're not a baker, that's fine because I've got a chapter of Scottish cocktails in the book as well. And this is my take on a dark and stormy, sláinte, as we say. This is a hot, dark and stormy.
Okay.
Just to put some hair on your chest. That's very good.
Oh, yeah. And it is fresh ginger, cloves, rum, of course. And that's going to keep you cozy.
I just feel like my nostrils just like opened
Everything just opened up and we're ready for our Herkle-Durkle after this incredible food. Thank you so much for coming.
Good to see you.
Delicious food with you.
Our next guest travels the world uncovering the best snacks that different countries have to offer. And Canada Day, I think, calls from tasty snacks, right?
I think you're right. But here's a question. Have you ever thought to fuse Canadian cuisine with paella?
Never.
Not me either. Here with Canadian-inspired paella dishes, just in time for the long weekend, is snack influencer Dre Peo. Nice to see you.
I'm so excited for you guys to try this
I mean, this is fascinating. For those who aren't familiar, what is paella?
Well, depends who you ask.
Yeah.
First, paella is the national dish of Spain. If you ask people from Valencia, paella is strictly with rabbit and with your chicken.
Okay.
In a chicken broth with a specific Spanish bean. But to me, let's mix up our flavors. We have Canadian flavors. I feel like it's a very diverse dish. You could fry up your rice in these beautiful paella pans and make it whatever you think it should be.
Okay.
Well, whatever you've done, these incredible creations have gone viral around the world. You're known as the inventor of the Kit Kat paella, which I am so fascinated by. But why did you decide to start making these unique dishes in the first place?
So when I started creating content on TikTok, I started to review different candies and snacks and junk food. And then I moved to Spain. I spend most of the time in Spain, and this was a huge influence on my content and the different food that I enjoy. And I was like, I feel like we need to mesh these two things together, throw some candy in there, some chocolate. I feel like there's no end to what you can mix. Right?
Quickly, was the Kit Kat one the first one that really hit off?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, and you were like, oh, I'm onto something.
I'm like, I think we need to go further. Let's go this deeper.
And I'm going to say the Filipinos and the Spaniards watching, we just think champorado, which is a chocolate rice. So that's what your Kit Kat paella is. So let's dive into Canadiana here, because, you know, Canada Day's around the corner. So why don't we start tasting some of your amazing dishes? And we're going to start with real Canadiana, and that is paella with maple syrup.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
I felt, when I started to think of Canadian dishes, I was like, maple syrup. I feel like that's one of the things we're most famous for here in Canada. So I started by frying up some rice in the actual maple syrup, let it absorb those flavors.
Whoa.
And then you add a little bit of water to cook that rice.
What kind of rice are you using?
So for the actual rice, you use traditional Valencian Spanish rice, but if you don't have that, a traditional Italian risotto also works. But what you do
Arborio
is,
or no?
What's that?
Arborio?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I used here, because Spanish rice is a little bit difficult to find here in Toronto. It's not as easy. So for this dish, what you do is you top it with some maple syrup.
No, you don't.
That's the taste right
This would be
there.
incredible to serve for like a party, like a dinner party.
Of course.
That's gorgeous.
Right?
Oh, wow. This is delicious.
Oh, thank you so much. And then top it with your icing sugar.
Oh,
I feel
it's
like
so
it's
festive and fun.
It's like the Canadian snow on top, but dessert form.
This is gorgeous.
Wow.
Now, listen, these paella pans are, of course, what you make paella in.
Yes.
I don't have one. I still make paella at home with a cast iron pan. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. I mean, don't
What
tell
other
the
kind of
Valencians.
pans?
Don't tell
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Valencians.
no.
They might get upset. But absolutely, I feel like what I recommend is if you are going to make it, get it as big as possible.
Right.
Because then you can make a nice, like, thin, crispy layer in your pan, and it'll taste very similar.
Okay.
Where do you find these though? But where do you find them?
So I got these. I brought these from Spain, but you can find them. You can find them. There's a lot of Spanish. Even actually, I've seen them at some Latin stores as well.
Okay,
here in-
Danforth.
Yeah.
Next, we're gonna go from a sweet to a savory. This is a poutine paella, guys. It sounds incredibly. Walk us through this.
Absolutely. So the national dish of Canada, poutine, meets national dish of Spain. I felt like it was just a natural thing that needed to be created. What I did was I cooked the rice in the actual gravy. So I fried up the rice early in the gravy, absorb all those flavors. Then I added some water to really let that rice cook because you know that needs some time.
Oh, wow.
Top it with your favorite French fries, throw some cheese curds because you know you need that. Then, of course, on top, you have your gravy.
My gosh.
Hilarious.
Wow.
It's like salty, it's crunchy, it's really indulgent.
I mean, here's the thing. We're all clapping and we love this. And by the way, it is delicious. But if you've got some Puritans watching, what was the reaction when you started to like mess with like the sacred paella?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there was obviously some mixed reviews. There was people who... I feel like it's the comparison for Italians of putting pineapple on pizza.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? It's very...
purist.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people who were angry and people saying, like, you're rooting the culture, which kind of made me a little bit sad because I'm trying to do something that's, you know, innovating, different, and I feel like it's great here in Canada that it's something we're more accepting of. We're very diverse, multicultural, so I feel like it's a lot more welcoming now that I'm home in Canada.
So last but not least, some people may call it the official beverage of Canada, the Caesar, and you've made it into paella. I want to hear everything about this. I don't understand.
Right, so this one's a little bit more unique than some of the others, I feel like. So what I did was I started with my Worcestershire sauce. Is that how you say
Yeah,
it?
what you did that, yes.
I'm not gonna try again.
Yeah.
But you mix that with a little bit of vodka, and you add your hot sauce, and then I fry up that rice. There's tons of flavors there absorbing. Let that cook by adding on our clamato juice. So I'm
it's got
cooking
a bit
it
of
in the
kick.
clamato. Yeah, it's a little spicy, so if you're not into spice, it's
ready
a little
for it.
spicy.
Is it gonna hit me soon?
So you top it with your favorite toppings. I feel like the Caesars get crazy here in Canada. So I've seen like burgers and hot dogs on top of a Caesar.
It's true.
endless.
Bacon slices. I am very fond of a meat stick, though, so I love this. That's a great, clever way. And the celery.
That's my favorite. And of
God.
course, you need your Spanish olives to make it a little bit Spanish.
Dre, thanks for being here. This was absolutely
delicious.
fascinating.
Great for a big Canada Day party.